Hey, guys, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of the DK Business and Mindset Show. You know who I am. I am your host with the most, Dante Kearney. I hope that you had a productive Tuesday. You were able to crush it today, whatever goals you had set forth, whether it was just taking a jog or making sure your kids had lunch or whatever the case might be. I hope you had a great day. So today I want to talk about a topic that sometimes a lot of people don't talk about in my field when it comes to giving the value that you're giving. Today, I want to focus on you. I want not only just me, but you. Have you ever had a moment where you're just like, man, I don't feel like working today. I don't feel like doing this podcast. I don't feel like, handling the kids. I don't feel like cooking. I don't feel like going to work. I don't feel like doing nothing. I've had many of those days, especially when I got myself in a rut and I stopped doing things that kept, the momentum going. So when you get in these ruts, you have to remember two things. One, in order for you to get out of that rut, you have to get that momentum train back up and running. And two, number one, to get that momentum train going, it takes a lot of work. For real. It takes a lot of work to get that momentum train back up and running. So, trust me, from my own advice, if you don't want that momentum train to stop, don't stop. Because it's very hard to get it back up and running. It's very tiring and exhausting and demoralizing. And the second reason, which is what I want to elaborate and expand on today, is all work and no play makes anybody go crazy. Seriously. So I'm going to hit on some major points that I feel is important in my life. Remember, when I tell you these things, these are things that I've experienced in my life. This may not pertain to you. Remember, I want to talk about the side effects. Warning, this may not pertain to your life. Anyway, let me stop. All right, so enough of the jokes. Let's get into it, right? So all work and no play makes anybody go crazy. You ever think about it at a job, right? If you're just sitting there, let's say I had many of desk jobs before. If I'm just sitting there focused on this dang computer all day long, what tends to happen? One, my eye starts to strain because of the blue light. Two, I notice like even now with my right hand, I have like certain pains, and I'm not, one thing, I'm a component of not putting things in the universe. I don't know if I had carpal tunnel at that time, but every now and then it's still, my right hand still kind of flares up, but not really anymore since I left that job. But yeah, that might happen too. Also, you could get bored depending on what you're doing. I used to be a debt collector, so working at a desk all day, it can get boring. And if you don't do things to keep it fun or keep it exciting or overall just anything to get your mind off of what you're doing for just a second, you're going to go crazy, especially if you don't get a break. So one of the things that me and my coworkers used to do when I was working there was we used to joke around. Like, like if we had a small break in between our calls to where like no one's answering the phone call, I shoot the shit with everybody, have fun with them, make jokes and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, as soon as somebody called me on the phone, hello, my name is Dante Kearney. How are you? Put on my customer service voice. Should I show you my customer service voice? No, I'm not going to do that. But no, seriously. I just try to make the best of every moment, because at the end of the day, we all know some of the stuff that we have to do is not easy and it's going to suck. But it is what it is. That's just life. That's just how it is. My advice to you, if you're working at a job or a 9-to-5 that you're like, man, I can't stand this job, just make the best of it, man. Especially I'll give you another example. When I used to work at Walmart, when I worked at Walmart, we used to hate our jobs. Our bosses would put so much crap on us about stocking shelves, and especially like we used to work at the overnight shifts. So the overnight shifts, we were like the overnight stockers. We had to make sure that they were on the shelves at a timely manner. No ifs, ands, or buts, or you're getting written up. So we would just, every break we used to get, we would just be like, man, they kicking our butts. Like, yep, they cracking that whip, man. Making us slave over this goddamn merchandise that they got going on, the freight that they used to bring in. But we used to make the best of it, you know what I mean? So the times that we had to get away from that, we would just go outside, talk, have fun, just pass the time by, because we know that, okay, we know this is going to be hard. Let's just get through it, look forward to our breaks, and then go home. That's it. So, that's my advice to you. If you are working like any type of 9 to 5, or if you're not working a 9 to 5, maybe you're self-employed. If you're self-employed and you got to do the tedious task that you don't want to necessarily do, but you have to do it, just make the best of it. Make the best of it. Me personally, I do a lot of organic reach. Oh, there we go. I do a lot of organic reach, and am I fond of it? No. But I know it's necessary and it has to be done if I want the algorithms of the social media world to work. So I have to do that organic outreach. I have to make sure I'm engaging on every post, liking a post, commenting on a post, making sure that I'm doing the back end stuff as far as actually DMing that person and say, hey, how are you doing? So I can introduce them to my entrepreneurial community and see if that entrepreneurial community can help them in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, I'm not so big on doing the back office stuff, but it's necessary and it has to be done. And I just make the best of it, man. Like the little conversations that I have with people, and that when I'm engaging with them and networking with them, I find out so many crazy stories and find out so much interesting information from people. It helps me in so many ways. So, but I'm going to get into point number 1 that I wanted to talk about as far as all work and no play makes anybody go crazy. It is okay to be about your business, but don't forget about you. Please. And by all means, don't forget about you. Don't be one of those guys or girl who sits at a desk 24/7, 365, working on their business and nothing else matters. I fell victim to that. You know what happened when I fell victim to that? Everything around me started tumbling down, including my relationship. So don't allow that to happen to you. So I've seen this happen to many people, where they have like a project that they're working on, or a business that they're working on, or whatever, or an invention, and they're just like, this is my baby. This is my everything. And they're pouring their whole life into it. And nothing's wrong with that. But along the way that they're pouring their entire life into this thing, they're forgetting about the people who are supporting him or her. They're forgetting about taking care of themselves, even if it's just simple as hygiene. They're forgetting about who they are as a person, the things they like to do, stuff like that. Don't ever, 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 ever forget about you. You can be invested into what you're doing. You can be all about your business, but don't forget about yourself. Make sure you're good first. There was a reason why I had to step back for a second in my business and, realize what the heck I was doing. That whole, it's crazy, but I never thought that I would fall into the category of perfectionist. And what I'm learning about perfectionism, I always thought perfectionism was somebody who is very tedious. Someone who sees the detail of every little single thing and has to make sure that everything is so meticulous, so like perfect before they release that content. I thought, I didn't think that was me. I thought I was just the type of person like, man, look, it ain't gonna be perfect. I'm just gonna put it out there and see what happens. Hopefully I'll throw the noodle on the wall and it sticks. But I started to see myself falling into that trap of like, man, I want this to be as perfect as it possibly can be. So I would put out less and less content because I wanted to make sure that I was putting out the best content that I can. Not saying that I'm trying to half-ass things, but I was listening to Kevin Hart's audiobook. I listened to it constantly a lot of times. One of the things that I had to really understand was when you're putting out content that may not be perfect, you're not half-assing it. You're just doing it to the best of your ability. Remember, I've networked with a lot of people over the past 6, 7, 8 months since I've been in business. And I've learned a lot of stuff, but I still have a lot to learn. So, when it comes to editing my podcast, when it comes to editing my videos, when it comes to putting content on social media, making sure how I'm building an audience on social media. Ooh, I hit my mic. How I'm building my audience on social media. So I'm still learning how to grow and build that. This is the beginning stages. This is ground zero for me. I want to look back at these videos and be like, man, I came a long way, whether it's a year now, 2. I'm in here for the long haul, man. I'm going to be doing this for a long time because this is what I'm passionate about. I love doing podcasting. Like I hope to not only build this podcast up with DK Business and Mindset, I want to start a sports podcast. And I also want to start a anime and video game podcast where we talk about anime and video games and just have topics about it, and also talk about sports because I'm passionate about that too. I would love to have have motivational podcasts like this, and at the same time be able to talk about the things that I love, which is sports and anime and video games. So, I'm really understanding the concept that I don't have to be this perfect individual who releases perfect content. And also comparison was what was killing me too. Comparing myself to content creators that I look up to. Like, as far as YouTube concerned, Dashi, Corey Kenshin, which by the way, if they ever listen to the podcast, guys, I love you. I've been watching your videos for years. But, I've been watching, content creators like them, and yeah, Corey Kenshin, he has over 8 million subscribers. Dashi has I think 10 million subscribers, and so forth and so long and whatever. But you have to understand, this is something that they had worked for over a 10-year period. They've literally been on YouTube for over 10 years. And Corey will tell you that on some of his videos that he didn't take YouTube seriously until 2014. And then when he didn't hit his first million until 2016. So it took him, when he finally took YouTube seriously in 2014, it took him 2 years to hit 1 million subscribers. Same thing for Dashi. He started his gaming channel in 2011. And he didn't hit 1 million subscribers on his channel until 3 years later. So this game is not going to happen overnight. This is a game that you have to play the long game. You have to do this constantly over and over and over again. And one of the things that I'm learning, Gary Vee had said something to me that, not Gary Vee didn't personally say something to me, but it resonated with me when I watched his video podcast and when I watched his YouTube. He basically said, "You're not a perfectionist, you're just scared." And I was like, wait a minute. Now that you think about it, he's right. Most perfectionists are scared of putting their content out because they are scared of what people will think. And that's what I'm getting. I think that's why if you listen to my podcast from yesterday or episode 3 or 4, whatever episode it is, I was a little self-conscious because I let a couple cuss words slip out because I wasn't having the greatest morning, but I let a couple cuss words slip out. But then I came to realize, wait a minute. I'm not this person who is slip mouth, talk proper. I speak well enough. I know a little bit of big words here and there, but at the same time, I'm Jersey. I have a little attitude. I put a little cuss words here and there in my content. So, I'm not self-conscious about saying a cuss word here and two. I'm not going to sit up here and cuss all through the podcast. Of course not. But if I'm on a topic that I'm really passionate about and a cuss word slips out, I'm not worried about it no more because that's just who I am. And I'm understanding that in this world of building an audience and building excuse me, when you're building an audience, you want to be as real as possible. You want to be as raw as possible, and you want to be the realest person you can be as far as being yourself. I don't want to be like anybody else that's out there. I don't want to be like Corey Kenshin. I don't want to be like Dashi. I don't want to be like King Vader and all those other guys, and Super Dreams and all those guys. I want to be myself. I want to build an audience based off who likes me. And believe it or not, everybody can build an audience based off who they are as a person. So, at the end of the day, I'm not going to lose myself in this game. This social media game can get very toxic if you allow it. I'm not going to lose myself in this game. I'm going to continue to, I'm going to continue to be who I am as a person. And if you don't like here's the greatest thing about social media. If you don't like my content, you don't got to listen. You don't got to watch. You can scroll right to the next person. So that's a great thing. So I'm going to always continue to be me. And I encourage you to do the same thing. Always continue to be yourself. Don't lose sight of yourself. It's okay to be all about your business. It's okay to be all about your content. It's okay to be all about whatever you're trying to build from the ground up, but don't lose yourself. Remember what's important. And that's that segues into the second point that I'm bringing up. Do remember what is important in your life and don't neglect it. See, what I was going through a couple months back, 2-3 months ago, where, and I'm being real about this. Me and my fiance was kind of going through a breakup at the moment, but we worked things out. We're good now. What I noticed before that breakup is I was neglecting a lot of things in my life as I was trying to build an online business from the ground up, from, trying to be a content creator, trying to be a master coach and trainer in the Young Entrepreneur Project. I started to lose sight of a lot of things, including my relationship. And it got to the point where, we're not always going to have time for each other. She's a full-time student in nursing school, which I'm going to say I'm clapping it up for. Baby, if you're listening, I am so proud of you. You made president's list. You have a 90% overall in your grades. I am so proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. I can't wait to see you graduate next year. But yeah, she's a full-time student as a RN. She'll be getting her RN degree by the end of next year. And she's a full-time, and she works a 40-hour job every week. Me, on the other hand, I work a 40-hour job as well. And I'm trying to build something from the ground up. As a matter of fact, I transitioned from working in a senior home to now I want to be a corrections officer in the state of Florida. So, obviously I'm going to get paid more, but that's all going to be going towards my business and my content. But prior to all of that, I was neglecting her. And that's not cool. When you're neglecting the one person who has your back from day one, it got pretty ugly. And I didn't see it at first when she first walked away, but I actually lost somebody who was very important to me. And it hurt. It really did. I didn't realize, and sometimes you don't realize what you have until it's gone. And when she walked away for that moment in time, I was like, man, what am I doing? Like, I had to really sit back and reevaluate myself. Like, hold on, wait a minute. Am I really going to allow everything else around me destroy everything that everything that's important to me, that's really important to me? Screw the business, screw being on social media and try to be a content creator and building a podcast. Screw all that. What is that worth if I lose the one person who supports me? The one person who loves me from, to the moon and back, So I had to get myself together, realize what the hell I was doing, and understand that, okay, I did some damage here. So I need to make sure that I do what I need to do to get to show her that, hey, the same thing is not going to happen again. I want to make sure you are priority number one. And guys and girls, if you're in business, let me help you understand something that a mentor of mine taught me. Your spouse is your number one prospect every day. That means you need to make sure you are prospecting that person every single day. You are making sure that person is good every single day. Seriously. I made it that point from this day forward that my fiance, my wife to be soon, is my number one prospect every single day. I make sure she's good. I make sure I send her a message. I make sure I check up on her. I make sure she's okay. Now, I don't smother her because obviously she don't like being smothered. but I make sure she's good because this is a partnership. You know, what I'm trying to build, I don't want her. I want her in that picture. I don't want her out of that picture. This is something that I want us to do together. This is something I want us to build together. You know what I mean? I want her to be able to, even though she doesn't have full involvement in what I'm doing, but she's behind the scenes, cheering me on, giving me criticism when I need it, telling me certain things when I need to hear it. You know what I mean? She's in my corner every single time. She always has been. So I make sure that from here on out that I don't neglect her and I don't neglect anything else that's important to me, including my hygiene. So moving on to the next thing is understand your priorities. So I advise you to write this down. Write down your priorities. Write down what is important to you. I have 3 things, and you don't have to follow what I say. Think about it yourself. Sit back, meditate on it. You know, a coach of mine, excuse me, I got a little gassy. I don't know why. But a coach of mine has taught me about meditation, and I'm really practicing it. I'm learning about transition meditation. I'm learning about, just sitting back and meditating on things, learning the proper position, the proper stance, how to keep my back arched and stuff like that, and the breathing techniques. Meditation does work. I advise you to try it. But just understand your priorities. I have 3 things that I go by. God, family, and business. Those are my 3 things. God, family, and business. Those are my priorities. So when I'm writing down my priorities for the day, I make sure that it's surrounded by those 3 priorities that I talked about in that order. God, family, business. So if, obviously, with those priorities, I make sure I give my thanks to God every single morning. Then I make sure she's okay. Because she works night shift. So most of the time she sleeps in the morning. But I make sure she's good. If she needs coffee, she needs whatever. And then I focus on my business from that point on. So just understand your priorities. Do the things that keep you sane, even if you only have a little bit amount of time. That's another point that I want to hit on. Make sure you're always doing the things that keep you sane. Who is Dante? Dante is a person who loves anime, who loves sports, who loves self-development, who loves meditation. Dante is a person who loves food. If you know who I am, I'm a big foodie, even though I'm fat. I am a foodie. I'm just saying. You buy me food, I love you. But no, I'm all of these things. I am a person who loves video games. I love comic books. I love going on hikes, walks on a beach. I even like some fruity drinks and some on the beach. And some people judge me for that, but I don't care. Judge me not. I like fruity alcoholic drinks on the beach. What's wrong with that? But you see what I'm saying, though? Like, those are the things that keep me sane in this world. Being able to do the things that I like to do every once in a while keeps me sane. Now, that Xbox, I don't have time for it all the time. As a matter of fact, at one point, I went almost a month without playing it. And that was like far-fetched to me because I'm like, wait a minute. I am a gamer. What am I doing not playing the Xbox? But I came to a realization that, like I said, that whole perfectionism stuff. Oh, I just need to be focused on my business and nothing else. Yeah, because I want to do that, I'm running myself into the ground. I have to make sure that I'm following so my advice to you with this one, if you want to make sure that you can still do the certain things that you want to do throughout your daily, and I know because you're putting in a lot of time from building your business from the ground up, and you might still work a 9-to-5 like me, you might only have a spare minimum time to do the little things that you like to do. So you plan it out. Like me personally, if I have the time, like obviously I'm not going to have the time today, but like a day like tomorrow, if I knock out the important task that I need to knock out for my business, and I only have an hour of the entire time of the day to pick up the controller and play the video game, that's what I'm going to do, because then it gives me that dopamine. I was able to satisfy myself of completing all my tasks for the day. So now I can have that dopamine of being satisfied of not only completing all my tasks for the day, but now I got that dopamine of, I'm playing video games. I can, I don't think anybody understands. If you're not a gamer, you don't understand. But if you're a gamer, you understand that when you pick up that controller, every single anxiety or thought that was in your mind just floats away. It's just like, you don't think about nothing. It's like, playing video games for me has always been a stress reliever. Like even when I was young, it was like one of those. So growing up, I wasn't allowed to play video games during Monday through Friday school days, and I used to annoy the crap out of me. But that was my mother and father's rules. I had to follow them. So came Friday, when I got out of school, 9 times out of 10, I never had any homework on the weekends. So as soon as I get home from school, as long as I wasn't on punishment, the first thing I do after a long week of school, I'll pick up that PlayStation controller and my mind be gone. Crash Bandicoot, Mega Man, NBA Live 99, you name it. Like I was playing PlayStation games all weekend because that was my dopamine. That was my reward for having a good week in school. So, reward yourself. It's like a reward system. Make sure you're always still putting yourself in a way so you're still doing the things that make you sane. So you're still doing the things that make you who you are. Don't ever forget about that. And the last point that I want to hit on is, you put it this way. Understand, if you're in business, if you're trying to build an online business, whether you're in cryptocurrency, whether you're in Bitcoin, by the way, just a little notation. If any Bitcoiner or Forex person is listening, stop being so aggressive on social media. If we wanted to do Bitcoin mining or cryptocurrency, we'll reach out to you. Don't be bombarding and spamming our inboxes, please. Thank you. Anywho, just understand that what you're doing, whatever your business is, whether it's an online business, traditional business, whatever, entrepreneurship, whatever, please understand that this is not something that's going to be for the rest of your life where you're just putting all of your work in now and you only have a little bit of time for your family and your friends and the things you like to do. No, that's not the case. If you're an entrepreneur, you understand that you're putting all the upfront time now so you don't have to do this the rest of your life. I don't know when I'm going to start to see the roots of my success. Well, put it this way. I don't know when I'm going to start seeing, the tree rise, the whole bamboo tree theory. You know how they say with the bamboo tree, it takes the bamboo tree 8 years. The first 8 years, the bamboo tree only grows a foot. And then after those 8 years, the bamboo tree just shoots straight up. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's going to take you 8 years for your business to rise, but it's just the bamboo theory. You're going to have to put a lot of upfront work and you're not going to see a lot of results in the beginning. But over time, if you're playing the long game, eventually something's going to happen that's going to shoot you straight up. So understand that if you're playing the long game, it's going to happen. It's not going to happen right now, but it will happen. And eventually, you're going to see the fruits of your labor. But for now, you got to continue to put in the work. And you're going to have to put in the sacrifice of not having a lot of time for the things that you love at first. So I don't put in 2, 4, 6 hours of playing video games anymore because that video game system's not making me money. Unless I decide to go ahead and make a gaming channel, which I will eventually. That video game is not making me money right now. So I don't always have time for it. So when I do have the little bit of time for it, I would love to pick up the controller and just for hours just play. But I don't have that time anymore. So my priorities are different now. So, but I understand that eventually I will have, I will have time to play the video game more and more as time goes on. Because I'm putting up the upfront work now, so I don't have to do it the rest of my life. So please understand, if you're an entrepreneur like myself, keep working. Don't stop. Keep it going. Because it's not going to last forever. You're not going to be slaving away at what you're trying to do forever. It's going to pay off for you. Just keep putting in the work. And eventually, you won't have to keep putting in the work. It'll work itself for you. And then you'll have more time for your family. You'll have more time for the things that you want to do. I know the biggest thing I'm going to do when things start picking up for me and my money's going to work for itself, I'm going to travel. I want to see the world and everything it has to offer. Everything. That's why I'm glad I'm part of the Young Entrepreneur Project, man, because there's so many deals that I can catch as far as going on vacations and also giving out vacations to people who wants to go on vacation. So like, I cannot wait until I gain my financial freedom and be able to do everything that I want to do in life, because I am going to travel. First place on my list, Japan. Japan has been on my bucket list for years and I cannot wait. So that is all I got for you guys. Thank you for listening in to this episode of the DK Business and Mindset Show. If there was anything that you like, please let me know. I'm on all social media platforms. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I upload the video podcast on my YouTube. So let me know what you think. I am all up for any type of criticism. I'm up for any type of educational stuff that you want to put me on to help me build my podcast. And if you want to support the podcast, let me know if you want to support the podcast. So thank you so much for listening in, and I will see you in the next episode.